Sit still.
God!
It's hardly a graze.
Oh, what is that stuff?
It's antiseptic cream.
Stinks.
It's meant to, otherwise it wouldn't be doing its job.
Why'd you have to sneak up behind me like that?
You'd run a mile if I just walked up to you.
I don't even know you.
Oh, is that right?
I've never seen you before in my life. Ah!
Don't be such a baby. So why did you jump at your skin like that then?
You caught me off guard, like, trying to fill up the car. You shouldn't stick up on people like that. Could have easily landed funny and bashed my skull in.
Don't be so dramatic. There's lots of things people shouldn't do, but they do it anyway, don't they? There. Sorted.
So does that mean I can go now?
You're not a prisoner. I should call the police.
What?
Said I should call the police.
I'm the one with the hole in his head.
I know who you are.
What do you mean?
Every night I sit here looking out that window, waiting to see him jump as I went across the road. He'd look up and give me that cheeky grin. It's the one he gave me when I said be home by 11. It's the same one he gave me when I kept him pinching biscuits from the tin. You know, it's been 11 months and 14 days. There's not been a day that's gone by where I've not looked out that window and not seen you there instead. I know who you are, and I know what you did.
No. You're crazy. You know nothing.
Well, why are you still here?
You're ready to call the police.
You've been stalking me for months.
No, I haven't. You've got this so wrong.
Really?
Please don't call them.
I've seen you lurking between the cars, spying on me.
I wasn't spying. It was...
What, waiting for someone, pretending to have a fag. I saw you.
No, you've got it.
I'm calling the police.
The police. You don't understand.
You know what happened to my son, don't you? Don't you?
No.
Were you there? Were you one of them? I know there was more than one of them.
No.
Stop lying.
I'm not lying.
You want to see the damage you've caused? Is this a sick
He was my friend. We were at college together.
College? You went at the funeral?
I couldn't. I wasn't allowed.
What do you mean you weren't allowed? I know he didn't have many friends. I knew he wasn't popular, but still expect to see the same type of people jumping on the bandwagon, you know, pretending to care, pretending to be messed up by it all, pretending to be distraught. You know, you could have counted the amount of people on that funeral on 2 hands. Someone from college come along and tried to say a few kind words, but it was obvious she knew nothing about him. We don't have a big family, you see. Bloody awkward it was. Some of his friends were there, though. Beth and Andrew and their son Darren was there. He's such a sweet boy. He has grown up since I last saw him, though. Him and Dad used to play at the skate park together, and sometimes they'd come back here and play on the PlayStation.
I'm sorry.
Why are you sorry? Wasn't your boy, was he?
Please, don't call the police.
You know, I haven't spoken to anyone in months. People don't know what to say. They try and be kind and sympathetic, but the wheel don't stop turning, does it? Life goes on. People forget.
I didn't forget.
What do you want? Rude man. That's what they used to call him when he was growing up. Such a sweet little thing. He had one of those smiles that were infectious. You took one look at him and you were putty in his hands. He was fixated on being a superhero, but what 4-year-old wasn't back then? Except his idea of being a superhero is running around the garden in a cape and face mask. And I mean just a cape and face mask, nothing else. Gave me potential next door, right, Eiffel? He thought he could save the world, silly sod. You know, I'd always find him running around the garden, climbing the tree at the back. I swear blind ended up with stitches in his arse, but he didn't care. He was rude, man, and that's all that mattered. Oh, he begged and pleaded for weeks for his dad to turn his bike into a superhero-looking machine. It refused to take the stabilisers off because 4 wheels made it go faster. Drove us mad, it did. His dad said it was just a phase, but 3 years later and Rude Man was still larger than life. It started to become a bit awkward. But I suppose that's what being a kid's all about, isn't it? Imagination. Innocence. I was never a touchy-feely mother. Don't know why. But I still loved to tuck him into bed at night and still felt that tingle when he'd wrap his arms around me or come running to me when he'd bashed his head or gashed his knee. I used to look at him and think, you might be a weird little kid, but you're my weird little kid. Then the little shit grew up, didn't he? One minute he's letting it all hang out, and the next he's all suited and booted as a robotic Power Ranger with supersonic weapons set to kill. That's when it all started to change. One day I saw him in the garden with smoke around him. Nearly gave me heart failure, he did. The little shit was burning his cape. I didn't know what to say. For 3 years I'd longed for nothing else, and here I was shedding a fucking tear for a make-believe character that had taken up the best part of our lives. I was choking back tears. Ruben was no more. Ruben was dead. I looked down at him, trying to find the tears in his eyes, trying to find the reason that someone teased him, belittled him, but there was nothing. Here I was bawling my eyes out, my nearly 8-year-old was emotionless. Instead he just looked up at me and said, "Oh, nothing lasts forever, Mummy," and just squeezed my hand and ran off. That was it. The beginning of the end. That's when I lost him. Look, I'm not going to call the police so you can stop sweating.
I wasn't spying. I really didn't mean to scare you.
Do you think anything can scare me now? Still here?
I should go, but I don't want to.
We're feeling guilty about something, are we?
No!
Looking for forgiveness? No, don't go! What did he ever do to you? I know he wasn't a saint, but...
He didn't do anything to me. He was alright.
Oh, don't look at me like that. I'm not going to stand here and put him on some pedestal or paint him up in gold. He was far from being rude, man, at times.
Still look out the window as you in case you see him, though.
That's what mothers do. Look, what do you want? Why are you here?
Because you scared me and made me hit my head.
I don't mean that. What do you want? Why do you keep coming here? Did you kill my son? Did you kill my daddy? You just relax and take a breath.
How could you say such a thing?
Can you blame me?
I wouldn't.
Oh, don't come with innocent. Look, I know what was going on.
I'm not like that.
Like what?
I'm not like them. Jesus, fuck.
You were there, weren't you?
No.
You were one of them. You were there when he was begging for his life.
Stop it.
You killed my son. So you get your kicks from stalking me, watching me grieve. Breathe. For God's sake, breathe.
I can't.
What's wrong? What's wrong?
I still...
Where's your inhaler? Oh, for God's sake. Here. Deep breaths. Focus on breathing now.
I can't.
Look at me. Look at me. Deep breaths. In and out. In and out. One more. In and out.
I couldn't. I didn't.
Drink this, go on.
I don't drink.
It's just one, it won't kill you. How were you ever my son's friend?
He didn't drink that much with me. So he didn't like it either.
Oh, did he now?
He only drank because everyone else expected him to.
Are you sure we're talking about the same boy here? Never said no when his dad offered him one.
Yeah, but then he'd always take one sip and just disappear into his room with it.
How'd you know that? We never forced him.
He didn't want to upset his dad.
Does your mother know you're here?
Sort of.
Guessing that's a no. Doesn't she get worried about you being out late at night?
I tell her I'm at the library reading.
Oh, you like reading, do you?
Yeah. Mostly old classics. I'm reading Frankenstein at the moment. That's where
I know who wrote Frankenstein, thank you. Danny hated reading. How he ever got into college, I don't know. Thought he'd end up with some shop or factory job like his dad and me. His dad was proud though. I said he'd only got into college for God's sake. Everyone would have thought he got into Oxford. I was proud too. I probably should have told him that.
Danny's favourite book was Mice and Men. John Steinbeck.
Favourite book? Danny? No, that's the first. Did it have any pictures in it?
Well, we were reading it in lesson.
Ah, so that's how you know him.
I knew him at school. He was always a bit of a dick to me. Sorry.
It's alright, I've said it before, I know what it was like.
Sorry. I've always been a bit of a loner. Mum used to warn me not to be. Make an easy target, that's what she'd say.
An easy target for my Danny.
Didn't matter. It was in the past. He apologised and he more than made up for it. Besides, it was my fault because I've always been a bit well, awkward.
You do realise that you're talking to the person who raised a boy who spent 90% of her childhood with a tackle hanging out.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't live around here, do you?
St Joseph's Road.
Oh, what did your mother say? She knew you were around here this time of night.
I'm not a child.
It's not safe, that's all I'm saying. There's a lot of nastiness that goes on around here. All the kids are too bored, too angry, all the shops are boarded up. Even the kebab shop got fed up and done a runner. Look, you must have heard about that kid, Sammy Grove. I think that's what his name is. Must have been about the same age as you. He slipped down some stairs in one of the abandoned blocks of flats. Poor kid's in a wheelchair now and too scared to speak. Police wrote it off as an accident. Tripped just over his own feet, they said, but we all know there's more to it. Look, this place ain't good. It ain't good in broad daylight, let alone after dark.
I know what it's like. I could look after myself. Besides, Danny showed me a shortcut.
You've been here before?
No. Through the estate, not here. I've never been here before. He told me. He told me.
He had a girlfriend, did you know that?
What?
He didn't think I knew. But it was obvious I did. We hardly saw him. He'd come home, get changed, be straight out the door again. Barely got 2 words out of him. Mind you, he was hardly a talker. Do you know who she was?
Oh, just some girl.
Must have been special. Never gave anyone that much of his time. You know, it's hard being a mum. You go from being the centre of your child's universe to an outsider in moments and you're meant to just get on with it. Bet you're not like that with your mum.
Hardly see her. She's an accountant.
Oh, a career woman! Mind you, you do live on St Joseph's Road.
It's nice in here.
Just say that. God, you wouldn't say that when you wake up and not got your full English, or you've run out of electric so there's no heating and hot water.
Yeah, well, Danny did used to come round mine before college.
Smart and took up for that girlfriend, I suppose. Now he had to look good, which surprises me because he was a scruffy little runt when he was growing up. Now he even had to smell right. None of that cheap stuff from Aston either, had to be Hugo Boss.
Calvin Klein.
Yeah, I found some of that eternity stuff in his room. He smelled better than a woman. Wish he brought you round for tea. I'm sorry I shouted at you earlier and accused you of... I just want to know the truth. Police could tell me anything. Why weren't you allowed at the funeral?
What?
Before, you said you weren't allowed.
I just meant... I really did.
It's alright, funerals aren't the nicest of things, are they?
I was scared.
Scared?
No, not scared. Just leave it.
Simple enough question.
I can't tell
I thought
you.
you were his friend.
I was.
Then tell me.
You wouldn't understand.
Bollocks! Don't you think I've been around the block myself? I've said and done things to make the hairs on your arms stand on end, so spare me the crap about not understanding.
I can't. I'm
He
sorry.
was my son. He was my boy.
I'm sorry.
I deserve to know.
I promise.
Promise who?
I've got to go. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't go, please.
I'm sorry. I came here. I promise I won't bother you anymore. I'm sorry.
Don't you dare walk out that door.
I'm sorry.
I thought you were different.
either fucking lost or you've got a death wish. Either way, you're fucked.
Does it matter?
Please tell me you haven't. In fact, don't tell me nothing. I don't want to know nothing.
I hit my head. She took me in.
Haven't you heard of A&E?
I didn't tell her anything.
I told you, I don't want to know. Why couldn't you have listened to me? I told you, didn't I? I told you stop coming here.
I tried, Leah. I tried.
Try harder.
I keep seeing him. I can't stop thinking about him.
He's dead.
Don't say that.
It's true. It's been months. You should be...
It's over it.
Go home, Rory. Don't come back. There's nothing here for you.
She deserves to know.
What? The truth? Do you really think Dan's dad would have wanted her to know what he was really up to? And who he really was?
Oh, he died because of her.
Precisely. Because he didn't want anyone knowing. Look, you and me were like chalk and cheese. It couldn't be any different. You know I get you, and you get me. We've been mates for forever. That's why I'm telling you this. Walk away and do what's good for you.
Oh.
Don't ask that.
Oh, what?
I said don't ask that.
No, tell me.
You know fucking well what?
How can you stay with him knowing what he did?
He did nothing.
Of course he didn't.
You don't know him. Not like I do. He does what he has to. Don't look at me like that. Go home, Rory. Forget him. No one's got any beef with you.
It was wrong.
And you think going in there and telling his mum everything is going to make everything okay? She didn't care about him. Everyone knows what she's like. Even Dan's dad turned to the bottle and left. She's a head case. And you want to go in there and make everything worse for her. Get into perspective, Rory. Think about it. This isn't just about you.
But Leah, he was murdered.
But he wasn't innocent. Maybe he brought it upon himself.
You really believe that? It's him. Oh my God, it's him, isn't it?
I've got to go. Go home.
Being normal's underrated. Used to hate it. The boring daily routine. Ping! There goes the alarm, and the fight with time, and the desperate press of the snooze button trying to pause those moments for a few seconds more, and the arguments over the bathroom, and the constant battle just to get your kid to sit still long enough to eat his breakfast, or just to get out of bed on time, or take a shower regularly. Oh, and the tantrums when they couldn't find their much-loved hoodie or their football boots, and the mayhem of the kitchen sink, and the slamming of the door, and the forgotten goodbye kiss, followed by a moment of sheer silence. The sigh, as I'd collapse into the chair and then realise the tea bags had been used up and there was no milk left. I'd curse him under my breath, give him a little thanks, Mum. It hardly seemed worth it. But I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't change no more. Almost had a right smack up in Leicester car park today. One of those wannabe wags from The Only Way is Essex, you know, size 8, designer clothes, a broken nail equals the instant end of the world. Sugar daddy husband encouraged her not to live in the real world. She obviously drives a 4x4 and struggles to control it, and then throws a temper tantrum that doesn't do what it's told. She came speeding through the car park, driving the wrong way, so I give her a toot in the clapped out Fiesta that she clearly ignored, and then just drove into the space that I'm obviously signaling to go into. And then she looked at me just to say, "How dare you?" And then she gave me the middle finger. Now, normally I would have stopped and driven and blocked her in. I would have got out and given her what for. I would have told her she's an arrogant, spoiled brat, and that her hair and her tan and her nails, they don't fool me. And she'd be so embarrassed that she'd have to apologise. And I did it because it was right. Because it was me. I said it as it is. I took no crap from anyone. But today I just let her in and drove on. I even let her give me one of those looks as to say, oh, bad luck. Normally I would have stopped. But normal's underrated. Have you noticed in the supermarket that people instantly become like refugees trying to grab their last food parcel during a world crisis? The noise of exploding trolleys coming up from all directions, and the near miss with the shop assistant as she's trying to get the next batch of bog roll onto the shelves, and the pushing and the shoving trying to get to the cost cutter section, got to grab the last out-of-date bargains, and the banging headache that followed. Ah! But there was no headache today. You know, I didn't even argue with the self-service checkout. Looked down at my once full trolley and saw an empty one instead. Turkey Twizzlers, lunchbox bars, bottles of Coke, Monster Munch, all gone. I do miss being normal. I'd do anything to have that full trolley back. To have that fight left in me to give the only way is Essex woman a mouthful of reality. So I'm stuck here looking out the window, waiting on that cheeky grin. Are you going to come in or just linger by the doorway? You know, I should call your mother.
It's alright. She'll be working as usual.
Your dad?
Yeah, he works away. It's fine, honest.
How's your head?
So?
I never understand you boys. You act all tough, giving it large, but you still need your mum when the chips are down.
Yeah, well, Danny did used to talk about you a lot.
More and more like it.
Sometimes. But only about stupid things. You could tell you meant the world to him.
I know, it's being nice.
No, it's true. He used to worry about you a lot.
Why's that?
Because of his dad drinking.
Those two never got on, really. The trouble is, they were two alike in many ways. Stubbornness, mostly. But neither of them knew how to talk, they just bottled it up. Except his dad quite literally took it out on the bottle. He was never violent.
He never said he was. Just that he'd be out all day, come home and pass out. That's why Danny didn't like the drink.
He never forgave himself. That's why he didn't come to the funeral. You know, we're seeing sometimes just sitting on a bench by the underpass, just talking to pigeons. He was obsessed with the birds in our garden in our old house. That's where Danny grew up mostly.
Rude man.
God, he'd kill me if you knew I told you that.
No, it's cute. I mean, I knew it wasn't like what everyone said he was.
What do you mean?
Like you say, we'll try to act tough.
Well, that's a more embarrassing story saved up for when he brought his girlfriend home.
And for that, he would have killed you.
There was the time he was trying to be an alien from outer space, and he got 2 glitter pens stuck up his nose. We ended up at A&E. Yeah, not very macho, I know. I won't tell you about the invisible friend stage.
No. You told me about that.
I did?
Yes, and the time he kicked his football inside and it knocked his grand's funeral cake on the floor.
Oh my God, I could have skinned him alive. But one bearer was enough for that day. He was in trouble, wasn't he? I'm not angry. He wasn't perfect.
You know, he used to bully me at first. Not sure why, usual reasons probably. But one day, I came off my bike. This car clipped me, and I went straight over the handlebars and into a hedge. Proper fucked my bike up, hands and face too. In fact, I swear I must have blacked out, because the next thing I knew, I'm sitting on the curb, and there he is. There's Danny, getting my bike out of the hedge. You can see I was shivering, because he took off his hoodie and he wrapped it around me. Sounds soppy, but that hoodie might have been the scruffiest, dirtiest bit of fabric known to man, but right then, it felt so warm.
It's his favourite. It's the last thing his nan bought him before she never let me wash it. Terrified I'd shrink it.
We ended up walking back home together. Neither of us said a single word the entire way. And when we did get to mine, he just said, "See you tomorrow." I didn't even realise how far he had to walk home. Next morning, I woke up, I looked out my window, and there he was. This guy who's been bullying me for months in my garden, fixing my bike. I went downstairs and I asked him why, and he just shrugged. So I proceeded to stand there like a lemon, not knowing what to say. And when the words did come to me, all I could think to say was, thanks. I even offered him some money, and he just said, nah, you're all right, and ruffled my hair. It was at that point I remembered the hoodie. I said I'd go and get it. He told me not to worry, that I could keep it, because he knew how much I liked it. And apparently it looked better on me than it did him.
Seeing that hoodie, I don't think that was a compliment.
Yeah, it's funny, because that was the first time anyone my own age has ever been nice to me. I thought at first he was taking the piss because well, I've never had a proper friend before.
I didn't know. He meant a lot to you, didn't he?
We were just friends.
I don't mean like that, just... Tell me some more about him.
No, it's daft.
It's not. It's not, please. No one wants to talk about him anymore.
The thing was, we were just two friends, us against the world on a perfect summer day. He turned up to my house early and woke me up by flicking water in my face. I groaned, threw a pillow at him and complained they'd ruined my perfect dream. My mum had let him in. Yeah, I swear she liked him more than she liked me. We got dressed, took my bike onto the tube and into the city. It was the perfect day. The sun was out, not a cloud in the sky. We got ice cream. He used his fake ID and an off license to get a couple of some half-price energy drinks and a packet of Benson Silvers. Walked through the park, hiding in the shade of the trees. I remember he kicked this football that had strayed away from some kids playing. So I took the piss out of him for trying to act like the next Beckham or Ronaldo, which resulted in him pushing me, culminating in us both on a heap on the floor laughing. We were just two friends, us against the world on a perfect summer day. And we took a path out to a country road, talked about girls and quoted lines from songs, you know, like proper mates do. He talked about West Ham and all the players that should be playing instead of subbing, and how great... Andy Carroll! How great Andy Carroll could be if only he wasn't always injured. And I stood there, balancing on the bike, nodding along to everything he said, hoping he didn't realise I hadn't a clue what he was talking about. He was my first proper mate. He could have been speaking another language, I wouldn't have cared. He put his sunglasses on as we began to climb the hill. I couldn't help but laugh at how cool he was trying to be. And that's when he said it. I remember, that's when he said it. Hold on, hold on! He began to pedal, harder and harder, faster and faster, as we climbed the hill, higher and higher. Wait for it, wait for it! My heart sank, my eyes widened. Here we go! The bike neared the top of the hill, going over the edge and taking my breath away in just one gasp. I screamed, shit! And he was laughing, and I was laughing. The bike began to pick up speed, so he took his feet off the pedals. I grabbed hold of his arms tighter, and he took his hands and held them out like wings on a plane. And that's when he said it. Take my hands, Rory. Take my hands. And I took them. I took them! We laughed and screamed as we sped down what could easily have been the end of everything. The wind in our hair. We were free. Absolutely free. Not a care in the world. Us against it all. We were just two friends. Us against the world on a perfect summer day. And it didn't end. We found a patch in the grass and we sat in the sun, opened the energy drinks and talked some more. What we wanted to do after college, our hopes, our dreams. I told him my fears and insecurities, and he didn't laugh. He just ruffled my hair, told me to stop being such a soppy bollocks. And that he thought I had nothing to worry about. There was nothing we couldn't talk about. I even ended up smoking my first cigarette that day. and I choked, and he laughed. But there was nowhere else in the world I would have rather have been, because time went so slow that day. Time stood still. I never wanted it to end because I miss him. I miss Danny more than I've ever missed anyone else. There's not a day that doesn't go by where I don't hope to wake up and see him at the end of my bed, trying on a t-shirt, like eating a bit of toast my mum had given him. I'd do anything to tell him to piss off, to moan at him, or throw a pillow at him. Those things don't seem that big anymore. But I can't. We were just two friends. Us against the world on a perfect summer day that should have lasted forever. Danny was in a gang. That's why he died. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry.
You didn't force him to join, did you?
No!
But you're not the type, you're a good boy.
It wasn't his fault.
Oh, don't sugarcoat it. No one forced him to join, did they? Thought it would make him look cool, give him power, respect, is that what it was it?
No! He wanted out!
For fuck's sake! It's just a state! 6 months to a year. That's all it's supposed to be until we got ourselves sorted. Daddy were made redundant, you see. That's what happens when you're on 0-hour contracts. His dad had always been fond of the booze, but hadn't always been a problem. He used to want to be somebody. He used to have ambition and get up and go. He was a salesman and he could sell anything to anybody. He was a proper Del boy. He tried it all. Door to door, car boot sales, selling kitchen appliances, even bog roll. You know, he had his own market stall. Silly still thought he'd be the next Richard Branson. His own little empire, he called it. It's a shame he didn't have much luck with it. You know, he once bought a whole bunch of sat-navs, only to find they only worked in Wigan and only spoke Spanish. I mean, how many Spanish people know that live in Wigan? Then there were the gloves for your feet. All different colours and sizes he was selling them in. He had them for about a week and someone came along and told him they were fucking socks. He swore blinders on something original too. It was like his headphones for the deaf. He's always trying to think of something new. Something that would make him millions. He'd take me in his arms and he'd say, one day, Ange, I'm going to make us rich. We can have that big house by the tube station in Wanstead so we could just jump into London and go to the theatre or have a posh meal out or just go shopping when we wanted. And Daddy can have a school that's got a proper playing field or join a football team with an actual matching kit. He was such a dreamer. I never stopped loving him, you know. Broke him when Danny died. So much left unsaid. I know he wasn't perfect and he was far from being the best dad, but he did try. He really did.
Danny wanted to go to university.
He never said.
He applied to a few. Bath, Canterbury and Sheffield. Wasn't going to bother at first. I convinced him otherwise. He didn't think he was good enough, but he really was. He's better than me in college.
I didn't know. I thought he'd done some apprenticeship if he was lucky.
He wanted to study English and politics. Danny had it all worked out. Student finance, a place to stay. He was going to get a job at the weekend and the evenings. He even wanted to learn how to drive. Get one of those first student cars that's got rust everywhere and a squeak that no one can locate no matter how hard they look. Failing that, he was going to get a bike. His face would light up whenever he talked about it. And he'd laugh and joke all the time, but he was serious. He really was. He wanted to go, he had the grades, he was knuckling down. He was going to do it.
What about you?
How do you mean?
Don't you want to go to university?
told to be a nurse.
Really? His nan used to be a nurse.
Yeah, he said.
You two spent a lot of time together, didn't you?
Chalk and cheese. Just kind of clicked.
Just glad you had a friend.
Look, you need to know. Danny hated being in that gang. He wanted out.
They wouldn't let him.
He was going to tell them.
He could have told me. I would have done something.
He wanted to. He didn't want to worry you.
Yeah, because he knew I'd swear at him more like.
No, it wasn't like that. He knew what he was doing was wrong. He was trying to make it right. It wasn't easy.
What wasn't easy? What was he doing? Why couldn't he leave? Why?
He was scared. He was scared.
Ryan, come in.
Don't answer it.
What do you mean don't answer? What am I supposed to do?
Please.
Why are you so scared?
I thought you said you didn't get many visitors at this time. No. It's nearly midnight. Who would be knocking at your door at a time like this?
This is one of the neighbours.
Please don't.
You think it's them, don't you? Look, they're just kids the same as you.
They're not just kids. Oh, please don't answer the door.
What's the time?
What?
What's the time? The exact time?
I think it's
The exact time!
11:48.
Well, the last time I opened the door at 11:48, there were 2 officers standing there in uniform. I knew exactly what they were going to say. I could see it in their eyes. All the neighbours were twitching by the windows, and Glenda from 2 doors up was already in tears. How did everyone know already? And it's like at that moment, like someone had just pressed the pause button. My whole body went cold. It sounds stupid, but I swear I had an out-of-body experience. Either that or I just died. Like my heart stopped beating, but my body was still there, my brain was still functioning. I didn't even hear the officer say those cruel words trying to be kind and soft. Your son's... There's been a stabbing. He was... And then all I could think about was tea. Making them a fucking cup of tea. They followed me into the kitchen and I got 2 mugs out and put the kettle on. They were trying to talk to me, but I weren't there, I weren't listening. Went to pour the water out, nothing come out. Got to fill the fucking kettle up, hadn't I? I looked down at the mug and it was one that Danny had made. It was the most hideous bit of crap. It had a god-awful face on it, but it was always kept at the back of the cupboard. I don't know how it got to the front. Something hit me. I started gasping for breath. He was dead. You're right, no one comes knocking around here anymore. You know who killed my son, don't you? And you came here to tell me, didn't you? Who killed my son?
Look, it's fine, honest.
Nonsense, I'll find it. It's here somewhere, I swear it. Ta-da! The mug itself. I said it was more little me, the cheeky git.
And more like a self-portrait.
You can't knock his looks. And his hair. He's putting Ange in the bathroom with his hair.
Yeah, he did used to fancy himself.
The only person who thought it looked cool to wear sunglasses indoors and in winter.
The Ray-Bans.
Fake, my dear. Absolutely fake.
He said they were real.
On this estate, yeah, right.
Probably knocked off.
Cheeky. Mind you, you're probably right. He was a good-looking kid, weren't he? Obviously inherited that part from me.
Obviously.
Do you want another drink?
No! No, thank you. Danny said this was his favourite holiday.
Bournemouth. One of the best beaches around. Mind you, made that in Poole. A little place called Poole Pottery. It's flaming hot that week. Spent most of it on the beach. Oh, beautiful tan I did. Best I've looked in ages. Made me all climbing all the right places. Sorry, I'm embarrassing you. God, he'd kill me if I talked to one of his mates like that.
It's alright, I think you're pretty cool.
Nah, I'm old and past it. All my curves are in the wrong places now. I haven't slept properly in months. Eating's become a bit of a problem too.
Well, you look fine to me.
There is a bit of my Danny in you after all. You are cheeky. He was a bit of a ladies' man, weren't he? The girls just loved his little dimples and his cheeky grin.
Danny hated his dimples.
Always got him what he wanted though.
True.
Did he ever tell you he used to get so worked up because all the boys at school used to fancy me?
No.
They probably worried you say the same. Yeah, it's true. He never always wanted to come round for dinner. Me and his dad just used to laugh about it. One of them even wrote me a love letter. He was only 12. Just schoolboy crushes though. Who was your first crush? Sorry, I'm doing it again. Your mum's pretty, isn't she?
She's alright. She's just Mum.
Why did he never bring you round here?
I don't know.
You miss him, don't you? I know, it's not easy.
We were just friends.
I'm not coming here and telling me. I know it's not easy, but
I haven't told you anything yet.
I'm not going to tell anyone.
What?
Well, going to the police isn't going to bring him back, is it? I just want to know the truth.
You don't want him to go to prison?
Him?
Them?
They won't even know you've told me.
I can't do this. I'm sorry. I've got to go. My mum will be getting worried about me. My dad will be getting angry.
You said you're working late.
He might be back.
Do you want something of his? Wait there. I'll be right back. Here. You might as well have these. You always said that they were. Saved up for weeks for them. What's wrong?
He gave them to me. They were a present.
For what?
I don't know. I just know they were a present.
I don't understand. What was he doing for him? What was it? Tell me! Tell me!
Ange, it's Leah. Mum's done out and I'm going to keep it home. Ange? Oh, saw the light on. Hope I didn't wake you. Hello, Rory.
Do you know each other?
We go to the same college.
Got the spare key somewhere. Make yourself a cuppa if you like.
It's alright. It's not a nuisance. What are you doing here, Rory? What are you doing?
She just helps to know.
What, the truth? The truth about him? About who he was? What he did? Or the truth about you? About who you are? And what you did? You're shaking, Rory. Why are you shaking? Do you need your inhaler? Is that what you need? You don't want the truth to come out. Not really. Isn't that right, Rory? She won't understand.
Maybe she won't. She said she won't go to the police. She said that.
What have you told her?
Nothing.
I can't look after you if you do.
Leah, she said she won't go to the police though.
And you believe her?
Danny's. We won't bring it back, will it?
Of course. Of course she'll go to the police.
Maybe I should too. It's the right thing to do.
Right thing? The right thing to do is to shut up and not say a word.
They killed him. They killed Danny.
And you were there too. So what does that make you? If you tell, you'll go down too.
I didn't do anything.
You think they'll believe that? You wouldn't even be able to hide behind your little middle-class status. Everyone will know. Look around you. Look at the photos. Look at how much he meant to her.
She knew he wasn't perfect.
This is a tiny bit different to skipping school, being a cheeky git, seeing the biscuits before dinner time, and staying out late. And what about you? Do you think she can handle that?
right thing to do.
No. The right thing for you to have done was stay away that night. You killed him. Not us, not anyone else. It was your fault. Now go home.
No.
What?
No. Your boyfriend killed him. He stabbed him because
You had to get involved. No one wants this. He didn't want to kill him. He was just going to scare him a bit.
That's why he had the knife, was it?
You don't live around here.
They beat him up. They were going to beat me up.
Just to scare you both.
Oh, congratulations. Because I've been scared ever since. I wasn't even the one that... You don't understand. Every time that I close my eyes, I see Danny. I can't sleep. I'm just scared of the dark. And it's so much worse than that. Because him and his mates, they're still out there. No, he's still out there. Nothing's changed. They've got away with it.
That's not true. Don't tell her, Rory. Please.
Danny should have died. He should have lived.
He's my boyfriend. You're my friend.
Leah, friendships fear one another.
Alright. I'm a bitch. I'm selfish. I'm nasty. I don't care. Why should I give up a chance to love? Why should I play a game of pretend, sitting in my room, trying to be the person who makes everyone else happy, apart from me? Always doing the right thing and what's expected. When I'm with him, I'm somebody. He's my man, and I'm his girl. Sure, I know what he's like. I know what you'll think. He's a thug, scum. When you're a leader of a gang, you can't afford to be liked. Like doesn't come into it. It's respect. Get respect for being strong, for making tough choices. He doesn't do it because he wants to. He does it because he has to. It's his job. He has to be tough. But he's my man, and I'm his girl. Why should I give up on that? I'm a bitch, I'm selfish, I'm nasty. You can call me them all. I see the real him. I see the part that no one else sees. I get him. Only last Sunday was around mine, and we just laid on the bed all day cuddling, sweet as anything. Did that thing when you lock hands and hold me tight. He told me I'll someday buy his house abroad. It'll have a pool, a proper garden, and one of those outdoor cookers. He'll put a diamond necklace around my neck and call me his. Then he called me Peaches. He knows I hate being called that, and he just squeezed my ass like he always does and laughed. But he's my man, and I'm his girl. I'm somebody when I'm with him. I'm a bitch, I'm selfish, I'm nasty, because I know he's got a temper. I know he scares people, but he needs me. I'm the only one who can calm him down. I just have to look him in the eyes, hold him, and kiss him over and over again until the ang's gone out of him. He never meant to hurt anyone. He was upset. He told me. I saw how betrayed he was. He never meant to go that far. He was pushed over the edge. He was tested. Everyone was watching. There was no going back. They were best friends, brothers. He was shaking for hours afterwards, and he just sobbed in my lap as I cradled him. He's not a bad person. He's not a thug. They'd take him away from me if they found out. He's all I've got. He's my chance. I had to protect him. He's my man, and I'm his girl. I wouldn't be anyone without him. Sure, I know he has wandering hands. I know about all the other girls he sees. I know he has his moments when he goes quiet, when he ignores my messages and ghosts me. I know he says I cling on too tight. I know he says he can't breathe. I don't care about the other girls. He's probably one of them now. He always comes back to me. And what relationship is perfect, eh? Who wants to be stuck down to the same person day in and day out? That is not how it works anymore. I know you won't admit it. But why should I sit in my room, hiding and fading away, being the good girl, when it gets you nowhere? Classic love and marriage is long gone, really. It's a new generation now. Social media and hookup apps have done that. Snapchat, Tinder, they all did it. And no, you won't admit it. Everyone is a snowflake to you, hidden behind the screen, scrolling and swiping right. People want excitement. People want to have nameless, no strings attached. Open relationships and non-exclusive are the new norm. That's what he says. That's what he says. When I get upset, and it's true, when you think of it, I don't want to be different to the norm. I want to fit in. I want my happiness. I know he loves me. Every time he kisses and puts his arms around me and calls me peaches. I know. I won't give up on him. I'm a bitch, I'm selfish, and I'm nasty, and I don't care. Why should I give up a chance at love? When I'm with him, I'm somebody.
Danny was just trying to be good.
Look how that planned out. You know, if you tell her, you won't get off this estate alive. You do know that, don't you?
Sorry it took so long. Where's she gone? It took me ages to find that bloody key. What's wrong with you? You look like death. You know, I never understand you kids. I know I'm not one to talk, but I blame my mother. Don't get me wrong, Glenda is a lovely lady, but she spreads herself too thin. She's got 3 jobs. She's one of those religious types. Not massive religious, not mind you. Her church is one of those happy clappy gospel types, you know, praise the Lord and all that hippie business. She's got a beautiful singing voice. It was her that put the flowers on the balconies. Bless her. I don't know how she does it. She's got 5 kids, and her husband's in one of those homes. It's terrible what happened to him. He was in a rush to get to work, tried to do a 3-point turn in traffic, and BAM! Got hit by a delivery driver speeding the other way. Sometimes I wonder if it'd be kinder if he'd just died. He's pretty much a vegetable now. What would that have happened with me? I'd rather just go. Quick and no fuss like. She's a good girl though. Leah, her daughter. I used to babysit her sometimes. I know she's got a bit of a gob on her now, but she's got a heart of gold really. Her and Danny used to play outside together. Between you and me, I think she used to fancy him, but what girl didn't? She's got a good head on her shoulders. I remember when her dad had his accident. She was always helping her mum, looking after her brothers and sisters and going shopping. I used to look at her and think, yeah, she's going to go far, that girl.
It was her boyfriend.
What was?
It was her boyfriend. Darren Eccles. It was him. He killed Danny.
Darren Eccles? What, Beth and Andrew's son? No, they came to the funeral. I spoke to him afterwards, he was his friend. They used to play at the skate park together.
It's his gang.
Darren Eccles? No, there must be a mix-up. Why?
It started out just a group of friends hanging out. I mean, Danny thought Darren was just being nice. Because Danny was popular in college, but Darren was something else. Darren had made something of himself. Nice fast car, place to live, girlfriend, and he's only 19. Danny looked up to him, thought that he was somebody. And Darren took him under his wing, made him his wingman, started giving him gifts, inviting him to parties.
Headphones.
A Ray-Ban. He thought it was fun at first. I mean, sure, they get in trouble. Usual sort, you know, fights with other gangs, smashing up parks, but it was never anything serious. Then one day, Danny starts asking questions. starts to wonder how Darren can afford it all. The flat, the car. That's when he introduced him to it. He knew what he was doing from the very beginning. He knew Danny could sell it. He was just like his dad. Natural born salesman, the gift of the gag. He knew Danny could bring in new customers.
He was selling drugs.
He didn't want to.
No, not my Danny. No, he knew better than that. No, he wasn't a saint, but...
I'm not lying.
I don't even know you. Why should I believe you?
Because it's the truth.
But why? He could have said no. He could have just walked away.
First it was for the thrill, then the money, then the power. He liked the status. And Darren looked after him, because that's what he does. He makes you rely on him, like you belong. Like you mean something.
He did mean something. He meant something to me. He was my... No, you've got this all wrong. I can't listen to this.
He didn't want to be a failure. He wanted to be somebody. He knew what he was doing was wrong. That's why he wanted out. It wasn't easy.
He should have told me.
He couldn't. Because that's when Darren started changing. Started getting more pushy, aggressive. Started acting more crazy. The rumours about Sam broke for true.
Sam?
It wasn't an accident.
He didn't slip.
Darren pushed him down those stairs. He even laughed as Sam lay there bleeding on the ground.
Danny was there, wasn't he?
Probably freaked him out. It took me ages to get out of it. I knew something was wrong. He just sobbed in my arms and made me promise not to tell anyone because he knew Darren would kill him if anyone found out.
Danny never cried.
What are you doing? You said you won't call the police!
He killed my son!
He's dangerous!
Give it back, you little shit!
It was my fault!
What do you mean?
It was my fault! I was the one that told him he had to leave the gang. I said he had to choose. I said I'd go to the police if he did. I said that...
You said what? What did you say? What did you say?
I said that... He told him. He told him. Darren didn't say much apparently. Just shrugged and said it was his fault. I should have known then he wouldn't let go of it so easily. It was my fault!
You didn't kill him, did you?
You don't understand. It was me he hated. He had anything from me from the start. He didn't like that I was... He hated Daddy being friends with me.
Because you're a good person, that's why.
No!
It doesn't make any of this your fault.
You don't understand. If it wasn't for me, Danny would still be alive. I should have known. As soon as I heard that noise, that drumming noise, it's that calling card. They bang these bits of wood against rubbish bin lids. It sounds stupid, but when they're coming at you from every angle, it's terrifying. Drum, 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 louder and louder, until they were cornering me, started pushing me. One of them punched me in the stomach and I fell to the ground and I couldn't breathe. They were yelling names at me, kicking me, treading on my hand. I thought I was going to die. And that's when he came. And he pushed him out the way and held out his hand and held me to my feet. Just like he had before. He told me it was going to be okay and smiled at me with his dimples. They were yelling names, and I was just like we couldn't hear them. And Darren just stood there, motionless, like really icy cold. Danny told him he didn't want to fight, but they forced him. There were too many of them. Punch after punch after punch, and he was on the ground. I couldn't see him. And I saw Darren, and I saw what he had in his hand, and I ran away. It was my fault.
You left my son.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I went back, but it was too late. I'm so sorry. It was my fault. I'm so sorry.
Come here.
I'm sorry.
Come here.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Look, it wasn't your fault.
I'm sorry.
Look, it wasn't your fault.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't your fault.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't your fault.
I'm so sorry.
It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. You're a good friend to him.
He was a good friend to me. He was the best.
You know, when he was a kid, he used to lay on my lap like this. I used to stroke his hair whenever I had a nightmare or just couldn't sleep. He used to love it. He used to love being close to my heartbeat.
I made him feel safe. Like he wasn't.
Alone.
He could always make me laugh.
You know, he always used to threaten to turn up on his wedding day as rude man.
Could have pulled it off too.
Wouldn't be a dry eye in the place. Everyone would be in stitches.
Reese would have a nervous breakdown.
His granddad would have a heart attack, though. But his dad would be cheering him on. Go on, son. Show him what you got.
Let it do the jingle jangle.
Oh, God. What an image. Was Danny really wanting to go to university?
Would have made it as well.
My boy. University.
Probably would have partied too much.
He'd be back every other weekend, though.
Just to see his mum.
He'd bring his dirty washing home, more like. I miss him, you know. I really do.
You know, he used to hate me at first. Said I was a stuck-up, arrogant prick who could never relax. The truth is, he was right. I was a proper geek. I couldn't talk to anyone, and whenever I did, I either mumbled or sounded like a nervous robot. But the thing is, my nan used to tell me, she said, the best way to get out of any situation is to do the unexpected. So this one time, when him and his mates were picking on me, I just shut my eyes and started singing. No, I mean it. There's me, this specky little geek, rapping and beatboxing at the top of my lungs in the school box.
Well, did it work? Was they impressed?
Oh God, no. They made such a racket laughing, their teacher heard us and gave us all a right bollocking.
Look, I need to call the police.
And then what? You said it yourself, Danny's... We won't bring him back, will it?
Oh, lock that bit of scum up, though.
Is that what you think? There's always going to be another Darren Eccles. You can lock them all up one by one until the prisons are bursting, but there'll always be another one, waiting in the shadows, waiting to take over, because he'll pretend to care. He'll prey on the lost and the disillusioned, and because it's become normal.
No, you're wrong. That's not right, that's not normal.
You don't understand. You weren't there. That's how held Danny is. The people around, they weren't shocked. They just stood there filming him dying on their phones, or acting like it wasn't happening.
You mean like you did? What did Leah say to you when she was here?
Nothing. You can call the police if you want. Can I use the bathroom before I go?
Sure. You didn't ask where the bathroom was.
What?
You didn't ask where the bathroom was. You've been here before, haven't you?
No, I just guessed.
Why didn't you flush the toilet?
Because I
Stop lying to me. You knew exactly where you were going. That's how Leah knew you were here, wasn't it?
No,
What did you take out of his room?
nothing. I didn't take.
Why did Darren hate you so
No,
much?
stop it. Give it back.
That's why he killed him.
It's.
Because he... Oh my God.
We were. He was my. He was my boy, Tanner.
Don't say that.
No, but if I.
Shut up! I don't think you should come round to him. I think you should go.